The Iranian regime, the elite, they live very differently than the Iranian people. And I think this is the hypocrisy that Secretary Pompeo has been talking about. This is another sad example of the Iranian regime lying to its own people. Anytime the United States begins a sanctions regime, it makes exceptions for food, medicine, and medical devices. The very difficult challenge is this regime has been the obstacle for humanitarian relief reaching the Iranian people. There were a number of news stories about massive storages of medicine that were set aside for the regime elites, and a lot of that medicine had already expired. They shipped 200 tons of medicine to Iraq. So again, we've seen this pattern for 39 years, a regime that robs its own people blind, that spends its money overseas, that doesn't invest in its own people. And then when the United States and other nations decide to target the regime's violent behavior and all of these violent misadventures overseas, the regime plays this really false narrative that the United States is not making exceptions for humanitarian relief. We are. One of the big challenges we have is that the Iranian regime uses humanitarian companies as a front to then divert the money that should go to humanitarian relief, and then they spend it overseas in Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Lebanon, Hamas. It's a long list. The United States is the largest donor of humanitarian aid in the world. It would be ridiculous for that country, the United States, which has such an amazing record of humanitarian assistance, to not then provide exceptions to its sanctions regime to ensure that humanitarian relief reaches the Iranian people.